All right. Good afternoon or good morning if you're joining us from the West Coast. Thank you for jumping on and joining us for our next episode in the Fuel Up series. So, we've got a great topic today with a great guest that's filled with wisdom in the industry. And we're hoping to pull a lot of that wisdom out today. But just first, before I ask our guest to introduce themselves, couple housekeeping items. Would love for you to join in the conversation today. We're going to be talking through a lot of different items I'll cover in just a minute, but we're going to have a few polls that pop up in the webinar. Would love for you to join us there and participate in those polls. And then also, if you have a question, we're going to be talking about a lot of different things as it relates to our topic today. If you have a question that comes up as we're talking through, feel free to drop that in the Q&A box down below. And we're going to try to cover that in a Q&A session towards the end with Judd specifically. So great. Awesome. So what are we going to be talking about? We're going to be talking booking fast, profit leaks, and really building a consistent pipeline in 2025 and beyond, right? So we're here today to discuss that double-edged challenge that many contractors face, how to maintain a packed calendar while also ensuring that every job is profitable. You've got good margin there. So really, whether you're a small contractor or part of a larger operation or organization, keeping that pipeline full while also managing margins is critical for your business success as we go forward. So that's our topic today. Like I mentioned before, we've got a great guest with us today. Judd, how are you doing, brother? I hope the morning's treated you well.
Doing fantastic. Really grateful to be here and hopefully drop some great golden nuggets here today for everyone who's watching and will watch the recording as well.
Awesome. I'm always excited to talk to you, Jed. I always learn something when we have conversations, whether it's on the industry or just in business in general. So I'm hoping to get a lot out of our conversation as well. Would love for you. A lot of our attendees already know who you are and what you stand for in your experience in the industry. But for those that don't, if you could just take a few moments and introduce yourself, that'd be greatly appreciated.
Absolutely, Sean. So I actually have a really, really fun story. I started with $8 in my pocket and a 5-gallon pail of sealer. That was 25 years ago. Ended up selling my asphalt maintenance business up in Canada, ended up moving to the Caribbean, built Asphalt Kingdom. It's now 22 years old and has served tens of thousands of people all over the globe in helping to build successful and thriving pavement management solutions businesses. And it's been a real incredible journey. So 22 years with AK, and we've got a phenomenal team that is really committed to being a lighthouse to everyone out there. We're truly, truly passionate about helping people. It makes our days all that much more exciting when we're able to help people build businesses that thrive the same way that I did and that we're doing. So really excited about that journey, man, and excited. We've got a lot of good stuff that we're going to unfold here today. I'm excited to share it all.
Yeah, absolutely. Me too, Judd. It's great to partner here at Attentive with a company like Asphalt Kingdom and AK Dash. Customer first is woven through each one of your team members, and it's evident. So it's a blessing to get connected here. Let's jump in, right? A lot of attendees joined in today to talk about our topic, and let's talk core problem first. So you, like you mentioned in your intro, you've worked closely with business owners and paving professionals really across the country, across North America. What are the most common roadblocks they hit when trying to fill their calendars, but also like run that balance of staying profitable as well?
It's a phenomenal question, and we could probably use the whole webinar up here just to unpack this one. But I certainly see three big roadblocks that I've seen over and over again in the last 25 years, literally. I've seen margin pressure, I've seen slow bidding taking place, and I've seen sales inconsistencies as well throughout the process. And I think that we can all agree that there's just a lot of people that are out there operating in survival mode because they just don't know. And that's something that can be really, really challenging, right? You're kind of feeling alone, you're in the fog, and you're doing the best that you can because you have to put food on the table and you've got to pay your bills. But that really ends up shackling you to a business that may not be able to be as profitable as you need it to be and grow it to the levels you want to grow it to create the life of freedom that you're looking for. And so, when you think of the people that are out there just winging it, it's not that we're pointing a finger. It's saying that, right now where you are, I understand where you are because I was there, but there's ways that we can break away from that. I mean, let's face it too, like there is the majority of our industry, and I'm going to generalize this, that aren't even answering their telephones when sales calls come in. They don't even pick up the phone. And it's like, goodness gracious, answer the phone. And if you're too busy to answer the phone, have some kind of phone answering system that's going to answer it for you, or leverage AI now as well, right? Like we've got AI call answering agents that we've implemented, and they're answering calls around the clock 24/7. So there's no reason why you should ever miss a call again. And those things can be really easily implemented. They don't, you don't have to be fearful of them, leverage them, right? And I would say also, like, just a matter of actually booking up your calendar and your schedule, making sure that you're booking your pavement assessments. Like, how many people out here right now watching have a clear prospect list and are activating an outbound phone script to book your pavement assessment appointments and starting to build those relationships where people can get to know, like, and trust you, and these are just, some of the things. I mean, people are quoting late, they're missing opportunities, frankly, everywhere. Social media is not getting leveraged. And these are all things that can be fixed very, very easy once you actually have the process and the systems in place to be able to execute on. And then the other thing too is, like, when people actually, even if they're just winging it and they land a job, they're not always profitable either, because frankly, they don't know, like, their underlying costs pertaining to the projects that they're doing. They don't understand their overhead. And again, that's not something that just comes naturally to everybody, right? Like, knowing your true and underlying costs pertaining to the projects you're executing on. Like, who here knows how to truly read a P&L, a balance sheet, a cash flow analysis? These are all things that you're not just born with that knowledge. We really need to make sure that we continue to become a master of our craft so that we can unlock the opportunities of building a solid calendar that's filled with profitability, the right kind of jobs. So, we could go on for a long time about that one, Sean, for sure.
Yeah, no, it sounds like there's two sides to the coin, right? Like you actually have to fill up the calendar on one side, but then you also have to execute and know your costs on the other side. And I imagine, right, like if you've been in the industry a long time and you've got this baked, that's great. But there's probably a lot of people that are in the industry either just started or just have been trying to make it and get by, feed the family, whatever that might look like for that contractor. Um, Keeping it simple up first seems like the way to go. So like your first thing, like foundational or fundamental, whatever word you want to use, answering your phone can help fill up your pipeline, right? It's simple stuff like that. You might not be able to pivot table a P&L, right? Right. But you might be able to just answer your phone or call somebody back quickly, I think is key.
For sure, for sure. If you think about this as a business owner, as you're watching this right now, I want you to just take a look at your phone, or when you get off, if you're watching this on your mobile device, but like, take a look at all the missed calls. And just know that the person who's answering that call on the first ring has a way more likelihood of building a relationship quickly, because people respect that. Think about you when you call a company, man. Like, if I call a company and I'm not getting through and I'm getting a voicemail that's full or one that's not even set up yet. I mean, these are just simple things. Again, first is answer your phone. Second is, are we actually activating the opportunity to be able to execute on pavement assessment appointment setting with the right prospects that we're targeting, not the wrong ones, the right ones. But we'll talk about that, I think, a little bit later here.
Yeah, absolutely. It's super like the bar. I've heard this a ton of times, right, in the trades, but the bar for entry is very low. Like you can excel pretty quickly by just doing some fundamental and foundational things. And the great thing about you and the AK team is once you get those baked, you guys have that ability to coach everybody on everything else. Like everybody might not be able to set up like a social media automated process. They might not know where to start and they need some direction, right? But you and the AK team can help provide some guidance on all those aspects of the business essentially, which is why we're here to help the industry. So good stuff there.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Now, taking that a little bit deeper, right? Winning the work. So you're filling that pipeline, but winning the work without lowballing is a key aspect of that. So I would say, a lot of estimators or sales professionals end up underbidding just to win the work. I I've had a lot of experience with this in the industry. Like when I get my estimate, I want my estimate to be factual. We're not shaving off stuff on the estimate to make our price better. That's handled on the margin side. You need to know what your true costs are for the job. And it's you can say it till you're blue in the face, but a lot of times if you have a larger organization or even a medium-sized organization, that can nonetheless happen. Stuff gets shaved off that shouldn't be. And just having a clear and accurate picture of how you're bidding the job. So how can the attendees, how can they shift out of that mindset and start pricing jobs for profit rather than just achieving maybe just say a revenue target?
I think a lot of people have always heard the lowest bidder war, right? Like it's race to the bottom, nobody making money, and then everybody's complaining about it. And frankly, you see it in Facebook groups, you hear it on the street, and the mindset needs to shift from being the cheapest to being the most valuable so that you can actually build a profit generating machine. You have to shift that mindset, and that starts with the confidence in what it is that you're actually selling. So as an example, are you a seal coating company or are you a pavement management solutions provider? And I want you to think about that. Like if your mindset that you're a seal coater, I'm sorry, man, your mindset is at a different stage than somebody that's like, I'm a pavement management solutions provider. I manage pavement assets to keep them safe, long lasting, and looking great, right? Like that's a different mindset. So if you have the confidence there, and then you have the confidence in your numbers, in what it is that you're truly bringing to the table for that client, if you're able to educate the client, show them your processes, explain the materials that you're using that are different from other contractors that may be selling a substandard product, and helping those clients ideally understand exactly why it's an investment and not a cost or expense to them, and you're able to educate, they'll understand truly that you're worth more at that point. And again, it comes back to being a master of your craft. It's like us sitting here communicating about these things right now. To be able to say pavement management solutions provider committed to keeping pavement safe, long lasting, and looking great, how long would it take you to actually memorize that? And that would roll off your tongue when you're communicating, that you would embed that in your marketing. And you'd start to leverage these things that have proven to help grow multi-seven-figure companies. And I think that's where we need to really, again, go from more of this race to the bottom price sell to a value-based pricing sale. And to me, that's the difference between running a business that's more of a hustle, that's going to tire you out. You're not going to make any money, compared to running a profitable business. And I'll tell you, like the right kind of clients will respect that. And if they don't, they're not the right client for you, straight up.
Yeah, what I'm hearing is words matter. Like the way you think about yourself and the way you talk about what your company does to prospective customers matter in a big, big way. I think, especially like for me, when I was younger in my career, I started hearing like I forget who it was in my professional career, but they started talking about things in terms of exterior assets. So whether that's trees, whether that's pavement, whether that's drainage systems, irrigation, whatever it might be, when you start thinking about what you support and maintain as an asset, kind of helps. At least it helped me kind of shift my perspective of like, yeah, we're doing more than just paving or seal coating or striping here. We're taking care of assets that companies invest in. And your other point that you mentioned there at the end, like if you start doing that, it almost pre-qualifies opportunities for you because if they start responding to it, okay, we've got something in common here. Rather than if they don't respond, maybe it's not the right ideal customer profile for your business. It sounds like.
Yeah, for 100%. And when you say the asset portion of this, Sean, it's really important. So, and Brian Hess, when he when he mentioned pavement asset management to me, it was like light bulbs went off. It makes all the sense in the world, right? Pavement asset management. You want to manage those assets. And frankly, when you come into that mindset, you're no longer just a maintenance and repair company. You literally can subcontract paving companies to come in, or you can refer a lead over, but you really want to help solve clients' problems, over deliver on the value. Because at the end of the day, do facility managers and property managers really want to focus on parking lots anyway? No,
Yep.
half the time they don't even know that there's liability risks on it. So if you come with that verbiage and it rolls off your tongue and you're practiced, it doesn't take long. Like you can practice a script, you can practice something within a couple of days and become really great at being able to communicate. It just takes some practice, man. It's like you don't become a champion without a lot of practice. And so the question is, are you willing to separate from the pack, or are you remaining average on the hamster wheel? That's really what it comes down to.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like in the industry, we probably don't give ourselves enough credit on how much expertise we actually have, right? So when you mentioned, your client probably is not interested in pavement asset management, but it's a requirement for their role. So when we can start to think ourselves as almost a partner or a consultant to them instead of just trying to sell them seal coating, you kind of move yourself, like if you're in a conference room on either side of the table, you kind of move yourself around where you're sitting next to them and go, okay, here's how we can figure this out, and you're advising them on different ways that they can approach their pavement assets rather than just trying to sell them seal coating. It's like it's two completely different conversations. And it's been my experience too that those customers gravitate towards that approach because they see you as a resource that they can call upon and a partner rather than somebody that just, hey, they're my low bid, that's who we're gonna go with.
It's a consultative sales approach, right? It's listen. I mean, and Sean, like in today's world, in today's fast-paced world with technology and smartphones and everything, right? The world is constantly speaking to us. Like we're just getting completely word puked on all the time and content puked on, like
Yeah.
all the time. And so the question really comes down to, are you going to let the facility manager, property owner speak and tell you about their pain points? Are you going to ask the open-ended questions that will open up the cans of worms that you need to actually hear about so that you can give them a consultative approach and craft something that's custom tailored to solving their problems and over delivering on the value? And when you do that, again, you separate from the pack, man.
Yeah, and to your point, like the practice of that, right? Like have your 30-second elevator pitch, right, as they call it, really clean and conveys your value. But I know I used to, and I still do today. Like if I'm on a sales call, I have some like key questions that I ask. Back in the day, I used to have it on a notebook. Now I have it in my notes app in my iPhone. But just I usually have like 3 or 4 questions that try to elicit the pain and qualify, like, is there enough pain to actually change what you're doing today? um, Practice those questions, write them out in a note, and you always got them handy, whether you're on the phone or in a meeting, in person or walking a property. At least you have them there so that you can start to hone that pitch and hone that process to help qualify those opportunities.
Yes, sir.
Beautiful. Great. um, All right, let's move on to our poll here. We've got our first poll. We'd love for you to interact with us here on this poll. Where do you think you're losing the most profit on jobs? So a couple different options here. You can pick missed scope of rework, underbidding just to win, a pricing that doesn't account for overhead, or low lead conversion. So where do you think you're losing the most profit on jobs? Give it a couple more seconds. I think I've
And Sean,
seen all those.
it's so important to engage, like for all of you watching right now, engage on this stuff because it really gets you activated. It starts to expand the thinking and your peripheral vision, and you start to perhaps think about things that you could immediately start implementing just one piece at a time. It doesn't have to be all of them, but choose some of these key things that we're speaking about here and go and practice them. I mean, between Sean and I on here right now, dealing with property managers, facility managers, contractors, and we've got collectively 50 years of experience here. And so hopefully some of the things that we're going to speak about with you guys, you're going to be able to take away and really run with it. It's all about laying out this yellow brick road, one brick at a time, team. And look at the poll results here, Sean, so far.
Yeah, absolutely. So low lead conversion has taken the lead here. No pun, or maybe pun intended there. Pricing that doesn't account for overhead. That's a big one, tied with missed scope of rework or missed scope or rework, and then underbidding just to win. It's good to see underbidding just to win as one of the lower levels in there. I know the scoping is a big thing, and I think a lot of that comes back to the qualification and the discovery side of things. But pricing that doesn't account for overhead is a big thing, especially if you don't start out, if you're just starting out and don't realize that, you've got some overhead expenses. Any insights into this, Judd, specifically?
Yeah, the low lead conversion for me is a big one. And it's because people just don't have the right workflow that's being executed on from the time that a lead does come in. And I think that that's a really, really important thing. In today's day and age, you can leverage so much automation. There's so many tools out there that can really automate this, like inside of AK Dash. For example, when a lead comes in, you can set up a workflow that is attached to, or if you send out a proposal, you can have a workflow attached to it. If a lead comes in, it's plugged into your task environment, and you're also emailed a notification on any of those AI calls that come in, or a lead that comes in off of a CTA that you have. But like automating these kind of workflows and sequences can help you tremendously. I see a lot of people out there, a lead will come in or they'll have somebody on the hook that they've done an outbound reach to, and then they try following up 1, 2, or 3 times, and then they give up. And it's like, in today's day and age, with what we're dealing with from a technological perspective, and so many people used to getting marketed to by big marketing companies, you have to be touching base with someone throughout that process at least 14 to 16 times if you really want to hunt that conversion. And I'm not saying 14 to 16 phone calls. I'm saying, an SMS. I'm saying a video text message. I'm saying a WhatsApp message, an email, a phone call, a walk in and shake a hand, like multiple touch points. And so if you want to increase your lead to sale conversion, I really want you to think about what needs to be done in 14 touch points from the time a lead is there to the time that you actually are getting a quote that is closed won. I want you to think about those 16 steps. And again, if you could do 14 of those steps in an automated fashion and 2 is only manual, I think what happens is, Sean, a lot of people end up saying, oh man, I can't do 16 follow-ups. And it's like, no, you shouldn't do 16 follow-ups.
Yeah, absolutely. Those 14 automated, as my dad would say, that's where your bread's buttered, right? You can get the 14 automated where you've got 2 manual touch points. And I think people they underestimate the touches that actually need to happen, right? You're going from no relationship to selling somebody something. There's gonna be a dating period, right? They need to be aware of you. They need to understand who you are. They need to understand what you stand for, and they need to understand like how you can help them. And to do that in 1 or 2 touches is really not realistic. So I think, understanding that it takes that much is step one, but being able to automate some of that, which AK can help with, that's the idea, is like, let's automate as much as we can while still having some of that personal touch.
Couldn't agree more.
All right, great. Let's go into our next topic here. So finding and fixing profit leaks, right? So I was having a conversation last night about just the trades industry, the contracting industry, and something that was said to me, hit me pretty hard, was like, our industry is not, it's not a complex industry, but it's extremely complex to deliver. Equipment issues, people issues, material issues, weather, temperature. I mean, there's a lot going on, right? And so there's, in all those scenarios or those pieces or components of it that I mentioned, there's opportunities to have those profit leaks, and you can unknowingly lose money in any specific area. So, talk us through a little bit, Jed, about like how they can actually plug those leaks and help that profitability.
Yeah, and it's such a painful area for me because it took me a long time to figure out how to get past um, thinking that revenue was the win.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure if I ask this question to everyone watching right now, and Sean, I'll ask you the question too. Have you ever seen a company brag about their revenue? Raise your hand if you have, right?
Mhm.
We've
Yep.
we've seen it time and time again. Man, I built $1 million business. I've built an 8-figure business. And at the end of the day, it's like, fantastic. Congratulations on the revenue. It's great. But it's vanity. Remember, cash is sanity, right? The company, when you look at valuations on your company, if you're going to go and sell it, they're going to look at your EBITDA and they're going to look at the systems and the processes and the machine that you've built, not some hand crank business that has no profit. And so if you should frankly should always be building your business as though you are going to sell it. Like, Frank, that's what I think everyone should be doing, because
Mhm.
then you're building it the right way. But what I see often happening beyond this concept of revenue is vanity, cash is sanity. I think that there's so many details that can get overwhelming when it comes down to crunching your numbers, but really it's not as hard as you think, especially when you have job costing calculators that have been developed for you that you can literally plug in your costs to determine what kind of margin you want to make on your costs to be able to make the net profit that you're looking for with your business. And if you're able to do that at a proposal level before you send it, then you end up in a spot where your assumptive calculations are going to be better than just trying to shoot a dart in the dark. And so if we can go after assumptive calculations based upon your costs in a job costing calculator, and then you're actually looking at what the final costs are against your assumptive, and you look at that variance between the two, you can start to get really, really accurate over time because you'll get practice. I see all the time, I see scope creep taking place where somebody will put out a proposal and they'll say crack ceiling, and they'll put a price in for $2,500. It doesn't specify the number of linear feet of cracks. And then they get to the QSR at a Burger King and there's 18,000 linear feet of cracks on the lot, but they've priced it at $2,500, hoping that the owner would think that it was going to be only 2,500 linear feet of cracks that were going to get sealed. But the owner's now looking at you saying, it says crack sealed. You got to do all of this. And now that scope is creeped. And then we think about surface preparation, right? Like, if you're just starting out, for those of you that are experienced vets in the industry, you know this. I remember what it's like to go to a lot and not understand what it would take to clean a 200,000 square foot lot. And it took 7 times longer to do that than do the actual repairs and maintenance on that lot for the finished product. So you have to make sure that you truly understand what you're getting into, ideally, before you get into it too deep, because that scope creep can really tear out your bottom line. Undercalculated overhead is another area, like seal coat. If you've pitched 2 coats of seal coat for a lot that's 18 years old, that's very different than the amount of seal coat that's going to go down on a lot that's been seal coated 2 years ago, right? And so you need to make sure that you're taking those things into consideration when you're calculating your costs. Otherwise, again, that can tear you apart. If you use double the material, that's on a large lot, like 50,000 square feet, 100,000, 500,000 square feet. I mean, it can ruin your season, right? In those cases, I've heard of guys. There was a guy on a round table, 1 million square foot lot he got into. Sounded awesome, 1 million square feet. He didn't realize what he was getting into. He lost money and worked 6 months on that project. You know what I mean? And these are challenges. I think the other thing too, Sean, is inaccurate takeoffs, where people are actually doing wrong measurements on the lot, spending a lot of time on the road and then doing inaccurate measurements. They're rolling a wheel, but because the lot's 18 years old, it's bouncing across the aggregate and it's not getting the right square footage. And so I think those are areas as well that can definitely eat into your bottom line. I think in order to really fix all of these things, you need to tighten up on your scopes to make sure that they're not just emotionally compelling on your proposals, but they're really setting the expectation of what it is that you're going to deliver. Going back to the crack ceiling thing, you specify the width and the size of the cracks, length of the cracks that you're going to be doing, total linear feet of half-inch crack wide, half-inch cracks that you're going to be sealing, or you're saying we're going to put down this total number of pounds of material on the lot, so that that is specified there. So you've set the expectation, you've communicated it, and you don't have that scope creep. And then using the right tools so that you're quoting the jobs properly, making sure that your job costing is in place, using those job costing calculators. By the way, they're built into Dash, but if you're not using Dash and you're using another platform or whatever it is, of course we want you in Dash, but we do have some job costing calculators in our AK Vault as well that our team can unlock to you if that's of interest. But don't not do these things, right? You want to make sure that you're protecting your margin right from the start. Those are a few things we could probably do a whole class just on this, but really understand your costs before you go out and actually quote it, man, because I've seen so many companies ask, what should I charge per square foot? What's industry standard for seal coat? How much should I charge a linear foot for crack sealing? What about his parking stall? Like how much for a handicap stencil? Like what should I be charging here? And people respond back with all kinds of different answers. And that's not the right answer. I'm telling you is understand your costs. Every business operates differently. Understand your costs, do your markup, and go out and sell to the right kind of client that's going to allow you to be profitable.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of value in what you just said there, Jed. I mean, I think the two biggest things that I'm pulling out are job costing is taking your business to another level. Like understanding what your costs are is paramount to you succeeding as a business owner. And then coupling that with not only selling the vision on your proposal, but scope specificity. Like you might not be able to get specific enough, right? Like the material weight, the material length, right? The what you're actually performing in a scoped out version, a map, a boundary map. A boundary map has always served me well. Like this is what I'm going to do inside this square. This is what I'm not going to do outside the square, right? Like just even simple things like that protect your business, add another layer of risk mitigation into it, and it doesn't have to be complicated, right? And the great thing is you and the AK team have some of these tools, whether it's in AK Dash or outside of AK Dash. There's some tools available for. So if you're sitting there going, I remember a point in my career, like I was like, everybody said job costing around me, and I'm like, I don't even know what that means, right? I've been there, I was there. So don't feel bad, like if you're listening to this and don't even know what job costing is, but do some research, reach out to the AK team. They can help you kind of understand these things and take it one step at a time. But those two pieces are paramount to not only protecting your business, but making it profitable as well. Great,
Sir.
great. Okay, before we get to our next topic here, would love to just if there's any questions, by all means, feel free to drop those in the chat. There's a Q&A box down at the bottom. You can drop questions in there, and we will answer those towards the end of our time here. All right, one of my favorite topics, Jed, and it's my goal to never get out of a webinar without saying the same, like speed kills. How do we speed up the bid process, right? And I think that's like I love that saying because it's and basically it's a common thread with whatever you do in life. Like, people that are quick and don't overthink things and simplify things and move fast are usually the ones winning on a regular basis. And I think that's one big piece of being an entrepreneur out there and having your own business is you can't have everything figured out, nor will you ever figure everything out. You've got to move, you've got to learn, you've got to fail fast and learn quickly. And you're much farther ahead than everybody else who's just sitting there analyzing something, right? So I think, in the vein of speed, what causes most bottlenecks in the estimating and sales workflow? How can estimators or the sales professionals really simplify and speed things up without sacrificing the accuracy? Because the accuracy is very important. It drives your production factors, it drives your material quantities, it drives a lot. So you need the speed with the accuracy, not just the speed.
It's 2025, folks. There is a lot of things happening around us right now from a technological perspective, right? I mean, rocket boosters are getting caught out of space in chopsticks, and like you've got videos now that are being produced that I couldn't even believe. You may have seen it this week, right? Like videos that are being produced through AI. It is a time that you're either going to be scared shitless of what it is that's happening around us, or you're going to figure out how to dive headfirst into it, leverage it, and absolutely crush it with your business. And it's, you got to do this. People who are using ChatGPT right now, I can guarantee the ones that are truly embedded into ChatGPT and asking questions are educating themselves at a level that's faster than you've ever seen before in the history of all mankind. The level of knowledge that is being built in the people that are ingraining themselves into this new world that we're living in. It's scary, yes, but at the same time, dive into it. You have to, otherwise you're going to get past and you're going to become someone that you may not dream of being. You got to build a life and a future that's filled with freedom, team. Don't embrace it. Embrace it. Don't forget about it. And so what I would say to you is this: most bottlenecks are really coming down to people that are using outdated tools, man. And they're not integrating. It's a lack of integration into their business. I see it happening all the time, man. It's like, I'm using CSV, I'm using Excel spreadsheets, not Google Sheets. I'm using non-cloud-based stuff because I'm old school. I just knock on doors all day long because that's the only way to do it. I'm old school. And it's like, and I'm not saying that it's wrong. I'm just saying that the people that start to really move away from these manual measurements as much and having to deal with bouncing between apps and having to track leads manually through spreadsheets and then wondering why you're behind. I mean, the reality of it is we, AK Dash and Attentive, have actually partnered together to come up with the solution that is an end-to-end system that automates the takeoffs for you. And then we're able to handle the lead flow inside the platform, pavement assessment modules, proposal creation, scheduling, job costing. You really have to have everything in one place nowadays, and we've built it. And the more you can consolidate and not be distracted by all the different tabs and windows and systems, the more you can stay in a consolidated system, you're going to be faster. It's going to be smarter for your business. And it's going to allow you to build more enterprise value, because anybody looking to buy your business, they want to know that there's a machine, not a hand crank thing with all kinds of chaos and spaghetti that's out there. And that's such an important thing that, again, like we've worked, just so everyone hears this, our two teams between AK Dash and Attentive, there are hundreds of collective hours that have been put into actually coming up with the solution for you guys to solve this pain point in the industry that has been there for decades, to now giving you back the time to be able to help you become more profitable. And so, Sean, it's an exciting question for me to answer, brother, because owning AK for 22 years, people have been screaming for this for a long, long time. And I know it's been such a pain point, and it's now here that people can harness and embrace. It's amazing.
Yeah, well said, Judd. I think like I like these two words put together, software fatigue, right? Like there's so many, like if you're a if you have a technological lean in your company as a contractor, right? You probably have a lot of point solutions. You probably have a lot of things that are disconnected, not connected, not integrated. So I think the beauty of this partnership to the contractor and the audience here today is, you can jump on the AK Dash system that's supported by Attentive, and it can be a force multiplier for your business, right? With all these different pavement assessments, proposal system, dashboards, revenue, takeoffs, all in one system. And you can create that force multiplication in your business, but it's also simplifying things for you as well. And I think that's the key. Like so many times there's software fatigue. I have to learn a new software. I've got a team that, doesn't like change. That's everybody, by the way. But to be able to simplify something and make it better and push it forward with speed is, I think, the sweet spot. And I think that's really what this partnership is about is fixing solutions and making it easier for the contractors in the industry to be able to execute on the work in a simpler format, in a simpler way that ultimately makes them more profitable, and maybe it gives them some more time back to be with their family more, or go out and explore that hobby a little bit more. Work is important, but being able to get some time back here is also important as well.
Agreed.
Great. Okay. Well, thank you for that, Jed. I appreciate you walking us through that. Let's do, we've got one more poll here. I'd love for the audience to take a look at here and participate with us. Poll number two. Which part of your workflow feels the most outdated? So we just talked about technology and how things are becoming more integrated. Uh, that would be your options here are takeoffs, CRM or lead tracking, proposal generation, or follow up and client communication. And while the attendees take a look at this and vote for us, Judd, I was interested, and you mentioned ChatGPT. I use that quite regularly. I have the paid version, but it was interesting. This I think it was on Monday or Tuesday this week. I started using the new model, and it was basically for Omni. They have a 4.5 out in beta right now, and it was very interesting because it almost acts like a consultant in your pocket, right? Like you can see it, you prompt it and you can actually see it going back and forth, almost talking to itself, creating a much more in-depth answer. So I don't know, it's amazing to see what's coming out and how it's iterating.
And tying on to that, it's like we can all be doing more of the right kind of work faster nowadays. That's really what it is like. And leveraging these platforms, leveraging what it is that's in front of you right now is going to be key. Adopt it or don't. If you don't, just know that you'll probably have some challenges. Things are happening very, very quickly, team. Learn it, embrace it. It's right
Yeah.
here. And it's
Yeah,
happening.
well
It's
said.
not going away. It's not going away. It's not going away.
Yeah, it'll definitely increase as we go. All right, we've got some results in front of us. So, which part of your workflow feels the most outdated? Follow up and client communications coming in first for us, CRM or lead tracking number two, and then proposal generation, uh, and then takeoffs followed up there at the end. So, any insights into this, Jed, just from first look?
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Follow up and client communications, and then it was lead to conversion as well. It's interesting how they kind of plug. Um, yeah,
Yeah,
automation. Follow ups are an interesting one because that's a when we're coaching follow ups, um, we train people to not follow up. it's we train people to strategically communicate about pain, not follow up on a quote or follow up on a proposal, or hey, I'm following up, because that's what everybody else does, right? It's like
yeah,
I was driving by your property. I was thinking about you. I was speaking with someone and it reminded me of you. And I just wanted to say hello and touch base with you, and let you know that we're here to answer any questions you have. If you have any questions along the way. And by the way, as we were driving by your lot, we also noticed that there was a liability risk that was there. We'd love to take care of that small pothole for at no cost. We're just going to go ahead and get that pothole done for you. Really want to earn your business for life and become your pavement asset management go-to company, And it's like, I have a client that we started coaching 2 years ago. They've built a multi six-figure company, doing really large projects, multiple hundreds of thousands of square feet. They knew nothing about black rocks 2 years ago. I remember when they knew nothing about it, and they went out and filled some potholes at some Bojangles locations. And just as a here you go, next thing you know, they have a bunch of Bojangles that they're fully servicing, and it was a pretty awesome turn of events. So you can, I guess, I'm going down a little bit of a rabbit hole on that side, but you choose where you're going to allocate your marketing dollars. It could be think of your marketing dollars going into a pothole that you're going to do for a client to be able to accelerate that relationship that could be a really good lifetime value for you. I'm not saying to do it for a 500 square footer. I'm saying do it for the right kind of clients and go be profitable.
It's been my experience that those types of things never don't come back around to you, right? There's always a boomerang effect on that. That's just how the world works. So I think it's a good way to look at some marketing dollars there. All right, we're nearing up the end. I want to make sure we've got some time for some Q&A at the end too. But in as we kind of wrap up a couple things here, building a consistent sales engine, right? That's the idea. So let's talk a little bit about long-term consistency, and I think that ties a little bit back to like the follow-up we were talking about as well. What should teams be doing right now to make sure they stay both busy and profitable throughout the year? We're in the early part of June. What did the next quarter, rest of the back half of 2025 look like, Jed?
It's go time all the time, right? And it's
Yeah.
like consistency for me, it never happens by accident. You have to build it. It's truly built. It has to be practiced as well. It's very easy to get off the consistency slash discipline train. Very, very easy. And so what I have found with our company and the companies that we work with and coach, you need to have a repeatable system that's been developed for prospecting, for being able to do pavement assessments, appointments that you're actually calling and setting up those assessments, or doing drive-by assessments. And just to be clear on the assessment is more like a report card for a parking lot or a medical report. And it doesn't have pricing on it. It's literally a consultative document that you give to your potential client to say, here are the liability risks. Here are some of the drainage effectiveness issues. Here's some of the things that I'm noticing that you should consider taking care of to keep your parking lot safe, long lasting, and looking great. You need to have a consistency in your repeatable system for your proposals. Like your proposals you shouldn't have to be cutting and copying and pasting into Google Docs and having to collage all this stuff. Then they get lost because they weren't named properly and the data integrity is not there. I think those are really important things. And then having a repeatable system, like we were saying earlier, for follow-ups, right? Like having that automation in place that's proven to work and has driven results. And then really having integrity in your pipeline, I think, is really important. Your sales pipeline. Like if you don't know where you are on your sales trajectories, the way your revenue roadmap is set up, and you don't have those right optics, then you really are spinning around in the dark. You don't have a pulse on your business. And I think that that's so important. When we started to build the revenue roadmap structure inside AK Dash, it started to light up a lot of lights for people that were unsure of this. I'd put a video out, I think it was around 7 or 8 years ago, and it was like, here's how we're going to build $1 million business. Yes, revenue is vanity, cash is sanity, but here's how we're going to hit $1 million revenue number. Okay. It's 12.5 $85,000 jobs to hit your $1 million. If you're converting proposals at a 25% conversion rate, it means that you have to put 50 of those out. 50 proposals that go out at a 25% conversion rate, we win 12.5 of those $85,000 jobs. Could we do that in a season? Yes. And we hit the $1 million. Whereas a lot of people are sitting there saying, well, I want to do $1 million in revenue or whatever the number is, and I want to go do $500 driveways. And they don't realize that that's $2,500 driveways. And they're never going to be able to do that within a working season because of the working days that we generally have in our industry. And so we have to build out what the target looks like. And then we have to work backwards from the target and lay out the yellow brick road, as we call the revenue roadmap inside AK Dash. So you know exactly the number of estimates, at what average price, at what conversion rate we need to be doing to hit the targets. And I think that repeatable system really gives you the structure and the sales engine that you need to be able to accelerate fast with your business. And again, that comes back to being a machine-based business, not hand crank. It was Keith Cunningham who wrote the book, The Road Less Stupid. And it's, we sit we're part of the board of directors with Keith. For those of you that haven't read that book, Road Less Stupid, by Keith Cunningham. Read it. It's a big plug for Keith, but he's a phenomenal businessman, incredible book. But when I went to his Planner Get Slaughtered event in Austin, he just spoke about these things, right? It's like, are you building a machine that's going to build tremendous enterprise value? And is it going to be an arc that can weather the storms where you don't have these profit leaks pouring out the bottom? And do you have repeatable systems and these kind of things? And I think that that's, if you guys can take away another thing here today, write this down, man. I'm going to build a machine business, not one of those hand crank ones that rely on me to turn a wheel every day. Like, it has to be beyond that. Hopefully that helps. I rambled for a little bit there, Sean, but
Well, no, the hand crank versus the repeatable, scalable. I mean, it hits home because not only, like you said, even if you're not planning on selling your business and you want it to be a generational thing in your family, the beauty of it is even if you build it to sell it, it gives you optionality, right? And it also makes things simpler in your business for you, even if you plan to keep it in the family, so to speak. So I think that's wise words. Wrap up question here before we get to Q&A and close out. Looking at where we're at in the industry and where it's headed, Judd, what's one big mindset shift you think paving professionals really need to make in 2025 to thrive?
yeah, I think it's what we spoke about earlier, which is it is 2025. We cannot be seeing tech as something that's optional. We have to embrace it. It's here. You have to leverage automation. You have to leverage AI. You have to be able to do these things to grow faster and smarter with your business. Otherwise, you're going to get market share will be torn out from underneath you. I promise you, if you don't leverage these things. That's not what we want for any of you guys. Everyone watching, we want to reduce friction. We want to save you guys time. We want to increase the accuracy. We want to help you guys build more profitable businesses. And I think that as we lean into tech, we will become more productive. We will become more profitable and continue. It's not just going to be today. We're going to have to keep leaning into tech as it advances. And I can tell you, like at AK Dash and Attentive, we're not just building this and setting it and forgetting it, team, just so you all know, like this is something that is very important to us to serve. We have a responsibility to serve you guys at the highest level that we possibly can to help you guys achieve the freedom, right? Like that's the bottom line.
Yeah, no, agreed, absolutely. Well, good. We want to get into some questions, but Jed, could I ask you maybe to kind of walk through what we have exclusive offer wise for the attendees on the webinar?
Absolutely, yes. So what we are offering from an AK Dash perspective with Attentive, with the AI takeoffs, we have an exclusive offer for you guys that are all watching right now, the AK Dash King Boss membership for 1 month at $300 versus the $349 is what we're offering on the AK Dash side of things. So you save $50 there. And then on the AI takeoffs, we have the annual fee that's been kindly waived, $299 by Attentive. However, I'm going to throw a complete spin on this because I like to surprise, and my team doesn't know about this, but I'm going to be throwing this into the mix. AK Dash King Boss, we're going to give you 1 month. Again, that's 1 month at the same price as Boss Level. So for $49, you will get access to King Boss that unlocks the full horsepower of what AK Dash has to offer. From pavement assessment modules, subcontractor portals, revenue roadmaps, client signing, workflow automation. You've got free training attached to AK Dash as well, where we have Mackie and Dylan Malone who will be working with you. But again, I've just completely surprised everybody on here because I like to do that from time to time. Again, that's $49 for your first month. You get full access. So you'll save $300 there, and you'll save $299 on the AI takeoffs, annual fee waived. Total value, $600 value right there. So let's get you going. We're excited to work with you guys.
Awesome. Thanks, Jed. That's great news too. Even I did not know about that as well. So it's a great offer for all of our attendees, and we'll show you a little path to take advantage of that here in just a moment. So we've totally gone pretty close to our time, but we've got to get to some Q&A here. I've got two here that I see, Jed. I want to make sure to get your input on. One is tech related that I want to ask because I just love to hear your answer. I think it's a great question. And the other one is just maybe a little bit calling on your experience. So, there's always some new tool or tech. How do you figure out what's worth investing in versus what's just noise out there?
How do we truly decide what's working best at this time versus what's just noise out there? Am I understanding that question correctly?
Yeah, so I think a lot of it, if I'm reading into the context of the question, right, there's always some new tool or tech. When I mentioned kind of software fatigue before, like there's software for everything times 10, right? How do you figure out what's worth investing in for this individual's like specific business versus what's just noise out there? I've got a few thoughts on it, but would love to kind of just hear your thoughts on like how you determine what's worth investing in and what maybe just you need to push behind you and move forward.
Yeah, I think just, there's a few things. One is we have a community of thousands of people, right? We've got 3,000 community members at the AK round table. We've got literally tens of thousands of contractors in North America alone that have transacted with our company and that we have the opportunity to communicate with. We do dozens and dozens of calls every day that are coming inbound, and then literally hundreds of calls that go out every day. And so I think communicating with people about their pain points is the number one thing. Understanding what the challenge is, what the adversity is, and what's really the constraints, what's holding them back, allows us to understand what we need to be looking for as the cutting edge solutions in today's day and age to solve those challenges. And I'll be transparent, man. We've grown the business to the point now where we have a lot of people that work inside of our company that are all really close team members. And the network that we have, Sean, just like your and my relationship, as well as others that we can reach out to and ask, are there any other solutions out there that we think we can bring to the table to solve these key pain points in our industry? I think that's how I really search for solutions. AK was built on that, by the way. AK was built based upon what people were asking for, not based upon what I thought would work.
Yeah, I think you exactly find the pain, right? Don't buy a piece of software because it's flashy and you think it's cool. Find out what your pain is in your business, and then the prescription can be a piece of software that helps alleviate that pain and simplify, kind of like what we were talking with the integration between AK and Attentive. The idea is that it simplifies your life, not make it more painful. So I think that's great advice for the group on with us today. We've got really no time, but I'm going to ask this question because I think it's a fantastic one. Jed, if you could start over again and knew what you know now, what would you do differently?
this is a this is a good one. If I could go back to when I was like 17 years old, turning 18 years old, with a 5 gallon pail of seal coat and going door to door, what I would have loved to truly understand is my numbers better. If I understood my numbers better, then I would have been more clear on what yellow brick road needed to be laid in front of me. I use the analogy all the time, right? The yellow brick road. And I think that I was really alone back then as well. I didn't have the internet in my younger days to be able to really leverage the way that we can today. And so I didn't have a lot of people that I could lock arms with on the yellow brick road to get to the land of Oz. So, today with the communities I wish I had the communities. I wish I had the systems. I wish I had the equipment that's available today. I wish I had everything that we actually have access to within Asphalt Kingdom. And AK again was not built by accident. It was built. It's been a dream to be able to build what I needed back then that I know so many people need now. And here we are. Yeah, if I could start over again, I'd hope that I could bring everything that you guys have at your fingertips today to be able to use for your business, straight up.
Yeah, well said, Jed. I really appreciate the insights you've given on that, and just the entire time we've been together today. I think there's a lot of value for people in the industry. I can attest. I've spent, like Jed mentioned, maybe a couple hundred hours with the AK team. They have a servant heart. So don't feel bashful about reaching out. If you're not connected with them already, you can scan this QR code. It'll put you in touch with Dylan Malone on their team, and they can help assess where you're at and really where you need to go and help support you on that journey as well. So just a key thing here, right? Profitability isn't luck; it's a system. I had that written down here in front of me, and with the smart coaching from the AK team, and really the automated workflows from the Attentive Auto Measure platform that's integrated in, we're here to help and support. So you can scan that QR code to take you to that free coaching session and be able to also leverage that offer that Judd so generously put out there as well. You'll find all of our recordings of our previous sessions at the attentive.ai/webinars, where we've tackled a lot of different topics, and we've got a previous webinar with Judd and Dylan on the AK team as well. So would love to have you join us here via that QR code. And thank you again for staying with us. I know we extended a little bit, but very good conversation, a lot of value. Judd, thank you again. You poured into the industry today, and we really appreciate it.
Thank you, Sean.
Awesome.
Thank you to the whole team at Attentive. And thanks for watching, everyone.
Great. We'll see you next time. Take care.